Good morning, all. Nice to welcome you back. I hope your earlier in the week practice has gone well, that you've managed to fit it in the busyness of lockdown. I've personally found lockdown has made me much more busy than my normal life. Cross your legs once more into Svastikasana. Withdraw the buttock flesh. Straighten the spine upwards. And for today's class, we're going to need blankets, foams if you have, the 4 foams. If you don't, just please get yourself more blankets, a belt, and hopefully you've now established yourself with 2 permanent bricks. And if they're normal bricks from building, just cover them so that you can soften the edges a bit. Cup your fingertips alongside you, rooting down through the very tip of the fingers where there's the most sensitivity in the nerve endings, and rooting down through the fingertips. Broaden the collarbones, roll the shoulders down the back body, and broaden your shoulder blades away from each other, and then settle the shoulder blades like 2 hands onto the back body, allowing the inner lower shoulder blades to settle just that little bit more deeply into the back. Remember that drawstring that we had earlier on in the week in the practice. Can you bring that deeply in? Allowing the upper shoulders to release down the back body. Softening, as if you soften the shoulders from solid, as we so often feel our shoulders solid. Can you soften the shoulders as if into liquid, like ice melting to water? Bring the chin parallel to the floor, and when your eyes feel ready, allow the gaze of the eyes to soften, ultimately allowing the top eyelid to rest to the bottom. Maybe the eyes don't fully want to close. Let them soften, let them rest, even if slightly open, until the eyelids feel heavy and the eyes soften back to the back and the base of the skull, resting in the brainstem. Rooting down once more through the buttocks, the very tips of the fingers. Ease, lengthen, lift the spine. Ease and lift the side ribs. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, fold the palms in front of the chest. Atmanjali Mudra. The mudra, the seal of the Atman. The soul, that knower within. Release the lower jaw, allowing the tongue to soften and rest into the floor of the mouth. Soften and open the inner walls of the throat, allowing the free, full flow of the breath as you inhale, as you exhale. Let the mind come and rest and settle in the breath. As the breath settles to become soft and smooth. With each exhalation, silently chanting Om. No matter how long or short that arm might be. After the end of your next exhalation, bow your head to your heart. Make your own inner acknowledgements. Setting up your intention, your sankalpa, for your practice today. Maybe making your sankalpa, your intention, ahimsa, the very first of the yamas, the very first of the limbs, within the limbs of the yamas, ahimsa, non-violence. And non-violence means more than just abstention or non-violence. Guruji used to say that ahimsa is love. So towards your practice, your very own being today in your practice, bring a sense of self-love to all that you do and are. Rest your hands onto your inner knees. Raise your head. Open your eyes. Extend your legs away from you. You've been sitting for a while. Reach through the heels. Once more, cup your fingers to the floor. Grounding the buttocks, lift and lengthen the spine. Extend through the soles of the feet as you sit in Dandasana. Danda is a rod or a shaft. So the legs are straight, no folds, no bends in the legs, just like the spine, extending upwards, straight. Use the fingertips, grounding into the earth. Use the back of the heels, the buttocks, grounding into the earth to lift the spine. Settle your front thighs to the thigh bone so the back of the knees can fully extend and open. And then from there, cross your legs the other way. For most of you, it will most probably be the least instinctive way. Once more, settling the knees as best you can. And if the knees are quite high, then take a blanket or 2 blankets. You can either fold the blanket and rest the knees onto the feet, or take 2 blankets, resting one this side, resting one that side, so that the knees feel supported. Gamukhasan. Take your arms out to the side. The palms will be facing upwards. Roll your down. Roll your inner upper arms up and out as you roll your shoulders down the back body, and from that allow the palms to turn up. Take your arms up and over your head, bringing your palms into Urdhva Namaskar, that upward greeting. If you find that the elbows bend considerably, then rather keep your hands apart in Urdhva Hastasana, upward facing hands. Relax the shoulders, palms together. Squeeze the outer upper arms to the arm bone. And remembering the class last week, how that external rotation of the inner upper arms takes place. Shoulders relaxed, reach into the tip of the fingers, press the palms, so that right from the base of the pose, right from the pelvic floor, reach into the tip of the fingers. Keeping the arms, the upper arms as they are, bend your elbows and bring your palms as close to your upper back as you can, without moving your head. So your head remains in neutral. If you have a look, the spine is straight, the arms up, and the head doesn't move as you bring your arms down. So the palms might only be here. It's fine. This is shoulder openers. So just be aware of where you can open your armpits and ease through the inner upper arms upwards. So all the work we did last week will come in handy here. Stretch the arms up, and with a big exhalation, take your arms behind your back, interlock your fingers behind your back, roll the shoulders back, and reach your interlocked fingers back and down. Spread the shoulder blades, the lower back ribs, and roll the shoulders back. Head in neutral. Pull the arms back and down, keeping the integrity of the lower ribs above the upper hips. That doesn't need to change. You're just adjusting your shoulders. From there, once more, release the hands. Take the arms out to the side, palms down, roll the inner upper arms out. Take the arms up and over the head, either Urdhva Hastasana or Urdhva Namaskar. Bend the elbows. So if you're in Urdhva Hastasana, you can just bend your elbows and put your hands onto your shoulders. But tuck the elbows in as you roll the inner upper arms back. Stretch the arms up. And with a big exhalation, take the arms back. Interlock your fingers the other way. So if your right index finger was in front, bring your left index finger in front. Roll the shoulders back. Now that drawstring area that we had earlier on in the week, can you bring that into the back to lift your sternum, to spread your collarbones? And for a moment, just release the back of the neck, looking down at your buttock bones from inside your ribs. Bring your head into Jalandhara Bandha. Raise your head, release your arms. Take your left arm up, bend the elbow, just like you were doing earlier on, rolling this inner arm back, tuck your elbow in, stretch your right arm out, rotate that arm in its socket, turning the palm up, and now keeping the inner upper arm rotating up, turn the palm down. So this doesn't change, just the forearm. And tuck that hand behind you, Gomukhasana. If the arms don't reach, the hands, don't reach, and you're here, take your belt, use your belt, and pull that upper arm up, like you're going to open that armpit as best you can, pulling down with your right arm. Otherwise, you interlock your fingers, Gomukhasana, head of the cow. So we're going to be doing inversions in this class. This is your Shirshasana arm. This, the bottom one, is your Sarvangasana, your shoulder side arm. So you're warming the shoulders up for these poses. And then release. Raise your right arm up. Bend at the elbow. Stretch your left arm away from you. Roll that upper arm in the socket, keeping the inner upper arm rolling out. Turn the palm down. Swing the arm back. So this shoulder remains moving back. As you tuck this arm in, if you need to keep that shoulder rolling back. Taking your belt or gripping your fingers, open your right armpit upwards, outwards. Remember last week's practice, deeply settling the shoulder into the socket to lengthen through the inner upper arm. Spread your lower back ribs, but the heart center remains open. And then release and let go. Come off your support. Come onto all fours for dog's downward facing dog. Spread your hands onto the mat, your hands as wide as your shoulders. Have your middle finger like two parallel lines reaching forwards, and spread your other fingers away from those middle fingers. Remember, please, those of you with ongoing shoulder issues, always turn your hand out. So the webbing between the thumb and the index finger, this area, facing forwards, it allows for the shoulders to do exactly what we've been doing. So root down through the index finger, the thumb, retract your upper arms into the shoulder socket, shoulders away from the ears, tuck your toes under. Remember the class earlier this week? Bend your knees, that dorsal thoracic concave into the back. Lift your buttocks to the ceiling as you stretch your heels down. Side seams of the trunk, lift them dynamically upwards to draw the outer hips up. As you root the heels down, stand deeply into the heels so the balls of the feet feel light, and lift your knees, your thighs, all the way deep into the hip socket. And now breathe. Breathe in through the spinal column, all the way from the base, the pelvic floor, to the base of the skull. Breathe out. Draw your shoulders, your shoulder blades, your upper buttocks up and back. Dig those shoulders into the socket. Open the armpits. That upper arm in Gomukhasana. Bend your knees. Adho Mukha Virasana. Keep the arms straight. Keep the armpits open as you settle the upper arms into the shoulder socket and the shoulders into that joint. Breathe. Check in on the breath. Wonderful indicator as to ahimsa, violence, non-violence. Take your belt. Make your belt slightly smaller than the shoulder width. So if you hook your thumbs into the belt, into the loop, you want it into that armpit area. Placing the belt just above the elbow joint. Your palms can face forwards. Take your brick. We're going to come to face towards the wall. Press the brick away with your thumbs, like you're going to push the thumb away from you, so that from pressing your outer elbow down to the floor, you can spiral. So that same action we were doing with the arms earlier on, the outer upper arm rolling out, inner upper arm rolling out, and the arm rolling out, the inner upper arm, and then without doing that, you turn the forearm in. Same thing here, inner upper arm rolls out, forearm rolls in as you root down through your inner wrist, your index finger, your thumb. Tuck your toes under and come up. Drop your head. Can you walk in just like you did in Adho Mukha Svanasana? Now you've got your forearms on the floor. But keep the shoulders up the back body, shoulder blades, dorsal into the back. So even if you need to be here, rather keep that concave upper back. Head completely passive. Can you walk in? Now, settle the shoulders into the joint. Pump open your armpits. Lengthen through the inner upper arms to root the elbows down. Forearms roll, spiral in, root the inner wrist down. Release, come down. Breathe. And we're going to repeat that once more. Coming up, release the head, walk in some. Bring your feet together and raise your left leg up. Press the right heel down into the floor and lift through your left inner heel. But roll this outer left hip down. Lift your outer right hip up.
by pressing into the mound of the right big toe. Straighten your legs by drawing the thighs up. Bring your left leg down. Shoulders deep into the socket. Armpits open. Raise your right leg up. Stretch for today into the right heel. Spiral that right hip into the medial plane. Press your left heel down. Right leg up. Breathe. Remember ahimsa, non-violence. The breath is a good indicator. Settled, smooth, soft breath means settled, quiet, sattvic mind. Bring your right leg down. Bend your knees. Adho Mukha Virasana.
For any of you that might be in the process of menstruating, please no further than this. Just maybe rewind yourself and go back to the beginning of the practice, and you can go this far and then you go into the end of the practice. But for the rest of you, Shirshasana. Fold your sticky mat in 4. For those of you, I'm going to take you all to the wall from a point of view of doing for today, because I know quite a number of you are still at the wall. But for those of you that normally practice in the center of the room, please return to the center of the room. Place your elbows down, just like you did when you had the belt and you had the brick. Palms facing down, inner upper arms roll out. Now, without moving your elbows, root the outer elbow points down and turn your palms to face each other. Interlock your fingers so that you interlocked right into the root of the fingers. So it's like a bowl. There are no leaks in that pottery ceramic bowl. Spread your fingers around each other, softening the fingers. Make the index finger like a lock for each other. So these fingers can extend to their opposite elbow while the little finger tends to soften a little more. So the inner wrist vertically above the outer wrist. Press down through these vertical wrist points through the center of the forearm bone. Lift your hips. Move your upper arms into the shoulder socket. Move the shoulders into the joint as you keep the armpits open. Place your head into your hands. Walk in. Lift your shoulders. Shoulder blades up your back. Some of you might be coming up with one bent leg. Best you can, get your back into the wall. Some of you might be coming up with one straight leg. Whichever way, lift your hips as best you can. Shirshasana. So for those of you that need the wall, there it is. But scrub your heels up. Root down through your outer wrists by pressing the inner wrists vertically down. Press the center of the forearm bone down. Broaden your collarbones, your shoulders, your upper shoulder blades. Lift your shoulder blades like vast hands up your back. Part your feet and lift your upper buttocks through the back of the legs, firmly through your heels. Quieten the soles of the feet. And now compact your hips, your outer thighs, and bring your legs together. Those two parallel lines, lifting vertically up the back of the legs. Breathe. Keep checking in on the quality of the breath.
Breathe up the back body, lengthening more and more from the shoulders through the heels, from the crown of the head to the center of the inner front heel. Breathing out, soften the sides of the navel to the lumbar spine. Reach through the heels. Firmly settle your front thighs to the thigh bone. And from there, extending through the heels, slowly, slowly, slowly come down. Rest your hands to the floor. Rest your forehead onto the back of your hands. Relax your shoulders. Breathe. When you are ready, come up. Open your sticky mat. Kneel on all fours. Spread your palms for Adho Mukha, downward facing Svanasana, dog. Press the heels down, buttocks up. Shoulders up the back body. Root the heels down. So stand the feet and the hands into the floor so the legs, the arms can dynamically draw through the sides of the trunk and lift the hips. From there, let the head just hang off the shoulders, off the neck. Open the armpits that little bit more to quieten the neck and the head. And release, come down. Take your belt. Your belt now you're going to make a little bit bigger so that when you hook your thumbs in, the belt's going to be as wide as your shoulders. And the shoulders, remember, not scrunching them up, but spreading them. Lie down on your back with your legs bent. Take your belt. Hook your index finger, your middle finger into the loop, and then take that loop around the front of the ankles, feet apart. So your heels will be directly in line with your buttock bones. Roll the shoulders back. Press the outer upper arms and the shoulders into the floor. Roll your inner upper arms out so the hands turn upwards and lift your buttocks. Now, tuck your shoulders underneath you. Walk your shoulders closer in. Those of you that are menstruating can actually join in for this pose. Press the heels down. Press the shoulders down. Lift the middle buttocks more and more. But as you breathe out, navel to spine. Abdomen remains soft, spreading. And release. Come down. Breathe. Once more, holding your loop. Turn the palms up and out, inner upper arms out. Root down through the shoulders. Root down through the soles of the feet. Lift your buttocks. Tuck your shoulders underneath you. Walking. Now drop your belt. Lift your heels. Put your hands under your feet. And press your heels down and lift the buttocks higher. Lift the buttocks higher. Bring that dorsal into the back as you press your shoulders down. Abdomen broadly, softly resting back. Breath can be smooth. soft. And release, let go, and come down. By now the shoulders should be beautifully warm, prepared, ready for Sarvangasana. Roll over to your right, come up. For those of you that do a normal practice in the center of the room, please go back to that if you so desire. But now bringing your equipment, your 4 foams, your 3 or 4 blankets, and the yoga dog must go back onto the yoga bed, please. Come and sit facing the wall with your legs straight, feet into the wall. For those of you that have foams, take your first foam and really nudge it close into the buttocks. If you don't have foams and you only have blankets, take a brick, good support, so that the back edge of the brick is where your buttock bone is. So the front edge of the brick will more or less come in line with your thigh. From there, come up. So first I'm going to demonstrate with the foams, taking your 4 foams, and that's your back one that you've just had. Put the other one in front of it, and you'll put your other foams in line with it. Like that. And then your blankets will go on top of that with the head facing towards the wall. So there's your head coming this way. Take your second blanket, opening that blanket up. You take that blanket so the back of the head can have a blanket support onto it. For those of you that have only got the blankets, I've had the brick there. You now take your blankets, just setting up, and you put your blanket to the front edge of where that brick was. And have as many blankets as you feel you need, 2, 3, 4. My India blankets are quite thin. And you're going to take that blanket also, folding it out for the back of the head. I'm going to go back to the use of my foam, setting up. So please set yourselves up. One of the nice things about YouTube is that you can rewind and check if you've done it right. So you've got your blanket set up. Open that blanket. Take your bricks behind your support. In other words, away. First fold your mat over. So the mat comes slightly away from the edge of the blanket. Here the blanket is exposed. Then you've got the sticky mat for your elbows and your upper arms to rotate. Come lying down. So your sacrum will be propped up by the bricks. Lie down so that first third of the neck is on your support. Another way to do it, as I've said before, make that fist, put the fingers over the support, and your thumb's length should be where your shoulders are. Have your belt handy, so you know that you don't have to fiddle for it. Take your hands up and over your head, press your hands into the floor, and tuck your shoulders away from your elbows. So once more, it's that action of retracting the upper arms into the shoulder socket. From there, bend up your knees and take your legs up and over, putting your feet onto the wall so that from your hips to your feet, horizontal line. Have your feet apart like 2 railway tracks. Once more, take your hands over your shoulders and tuck your shoulders underneath you. Stretch your arms up to the ceiling and press the top of your shoulders down so that you lift the spine, lift the hips away from the ribs by moving the front thighs to the back thighs. Then from there, take your belt, put your belt above your elbows, just like you did in that preparation for Pincha Mayura-san. Roll the whole of the upper arm out, right from the armpit. And then turn your forearms in, interlock your fingers behind your back, and lift up. For those of you that can, with keeping the trunk as it is, you might be able to walk your feet to the floor, even halfway to the floor. But you've got this support now to keep lifting the spine and moving the spine into the back body. Halahasan, plow pose. You can now bring your feet together, whether they're on the wall or on the floor. Interlock your fingers the other way and cup your palms. Inner upper arms roll out to root the shoulder heads down. Can you come onto the front of your shoulders? Spread your collarbones. Front thighs move to the back thighs. Back thighs lift. Take your hands to your upper back. And as most of you know that come regularly to my class, I like to put my hands onto the actual skin of the upper back. Use that web between the thumb and the index finger to lift the back ribs, to lift the skin of the upper back. And from there, stretching into your heels, come up. Those of you halfway up the wall, bring one leg up, bring the other leg up. Sarvangasana, shoulder stand. Part your feet like you did in Shirshasana. Press your shoulders, your outer upper arms, your outer elbows into the floor, and lift your shoulder blades. Lift your upper buttocks. Extend through your heels. Soften the inner walls of the throat. Allow the breath to flow freely. Keep lifting more and more through the spine, through the legs, adjusting your hands as needs be. Compact your outer hips. Bring your outer thighs together so that your inner knees, your inner ankles connect. Breathe in, rooting the base of the pose. The outer upper arms, the elbows, the shoulders down to lift up. The sternum like an arrow shooting through the inner heels. Back ribs, middle buttocks deep into the body to take the front thighs further, further, further back. Breath awareness, smooth inhalation, smooth exhalation. Come back to ahimsa, non-violence. No need to injure, no need to push. Extending through the heels, connect your front thighs to the thigh bone. Bring your legs down. For those of you that need the wall, there it is. Otherwise, come all the way down to the floor. Release your belt. For today, take your arms up and over your head. Palms facing up, So your hands towards your feet. Extend through from the buttocks to the heels. And as you breathe out, soften the sides of the navel back. Slowly, slowly coming out of the pose. So that at any stage you can shift and change. Maybe you're going out. No, maybe you're going back to plow pose. Maybe you want to come out. No, you're going to go back to halasana. So at no point is there a stage where you reach a point of no return. Bend your legs. Once you've found that support of the bricks, rest your feet to the floor. Relax your arms so that the throat completely open. Because when we do that Jalandhara Bandha, that tucking in of the chin, that net lock, sometimes there can be a bit of constriction of breathing. So allow the throat to open, the breath to flow. And when you feel ready, slide yourself off that support so the shoulders come and rest on the blanket, on the floor, and your lower shoulder blades cut into the front edge of the foams. Relax your arms. If you want to bring them down, hands onto the abdomen, do so, or out to the side. Breathe. Give time for the spinal muscles to relax. They've supported you well. Give them time to rest well. Roll over to your right. Come up. For today, take your support, whatever it might be. For those of you that have the foams, it's great to put one foam on top of the other like that. Otherwise, for those of you that only have blankets, just fold your blankets in half and come lying down. Bring your buttocks close to that support. Drape your legs over the support so that your heels touch the floor. Release the buttock flesh back. Roll the shoulders back once more. That tucking of the shoulders underneath you like you did in Sarvangasana. Let go your shoulders. Soften the skin on the palms of the hand. Soften the skin on the soles of the feet. Soften the skin at the back of the neck. Let go the breath, the body, the mind. Let go completely. Keeping your eyes closed, allow the breath to become a little fuller, more prominent as you breathe in, as you breathe out. Roll the legs towards each other and bend up your knees. Place your feet onto that support and rest your back into the floor. Let the inhalation be a little fuller as you sigh and surrender the exhalation. Keeping the legs well tucked up, roll over to your right. Ease your right arm up and over your head and come to rest your temple on your right upper arm. Keep rolling a little more to the front of the trunk. Press down with your left hand, your right hand. Come sitting in Sukhasana. Palms in Atmanjali Mudra. The eyes have opened, let them softly rest closed. Surrender your mind, the seat of your intellect, to your heart, the seat of the consciousness. And allow the heart to melt open. Bow your head to your heart with a sense of gratitude, acknowledgement for this Guru within. Namaste.